Good morning, and thank you to everyone who's joining us today. My name's Angela Griffin. I'm with Coles Together, the economic development organization for Coles County, but I'm here today representing the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois. We're glad that you've taken time from your schedule to join us today. We hope that you're going to learn a lot more about the resources of the Illinois Manufacturing Extension Centers and how they can help strengthen and grow your business. As I mentioned, I represent the Business Navigator Alliance of South Central and Southeastern Illinois. We are a 6-county regional collaboration. Our members include my organization, Coles Together. Coles Together is in the very near future going to be represented by Rhonda Soche, who will be joining the Alliance and joining these webinars. We're also represented by Lori Miner with the Sullivan, Illinois Chamber and Economic Development Organization, Risa Shaner with the Crawford County Development Association, Nora Swalls with the Marshall Area Chamber of Commerce, Bob Colvin and Freddie Schmuddy with the Paris Economic Development Corporation, and our leader who is not able to join us today, Courtney Yockey with the Effingham Regional Growth Alliance. So this group of 6 counties and leaders from these counties works together on a regional basis to conduct professional outreach and technical assistance for businesses as you navigate local, state, federal programs and resources. It's our mission to ensure that small businesses in our region are competitive when you apply for resources from those federal, state, and local agencies. And our goal is to help position you for success. The map on your screen indicates where the Business Navigator Alliance is located. And today's webinar is part of a series of webinars that we host each month on the last Thursday of the month. We also host various outreach events. We have office hours. We offer one-on-one technical assistance. And you can visit our website, ilbusinessnavigators.com, and learn more about our group. And it's at that website where we'll post the recording from today's webinar and additional materials. So this month, we're happy to feature Noah. Noah Brungardner is the regional manager of the Illinois Manufacturing Extension Center, or IMEC. He has more than 20 years experience in manufacturing. He's owned his own business. He's been involved in entrepreneurship, and his passion is to assist manufacturing firms across Illinois as you work to achieve your organization's goals. He's been able to develop and foster relationships with manufacturers of all sizes, and he does this by listening and learning how different companies operate and the challenges that they face. As I said, he's owned and he's managed a small manufacturing and machine shop in Southern Illinois. He's developed a multi-store national franchise company, and he's worked in nearly all aspects of business, including HR, marketing, sales, inventory control, assembly, and machine operation. With a degree from St. John's University in Minnesota, he joined the staff of IMEC to assist manufacturers directly using Illinois-based public and private sector resources, and he can bring expertise from a national network that he works with of more than 2,000 consultants from affiliated manufacturing extension partnership centers. So Noah, are you ready to present?
Sure, absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Angela, for the introduction. Really appreciate that. And just maybe continue a very brief introduction on my history. Since this is a manufacturing themed presentation, I grew up in a machine shop. My parents started a small machine shop when I was young, and that's I started out sweeping chips off the floor, and then as I grew, I was running a sandblaster, and I eventually graduated to a drill press and And then on my first Bridgeport mill, probably when I was 13 or 14 years old. Now, don't mistake me for any kind of machinist. I don't think I ever made it past the operator stage, but I do have a battle scar to prove it. At one point, I somehow put a drill bit in my arm. So anyhow, then as I eventually, my brother and I purchased the machine shop from our parents and ran that here in Effingham, Illinois for many years. And sold that off a few years ago. And then I joined IMEC, and we'll explain a little more what IMEC's about here. So next slide, please. Okay, IMEC is the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Center. We are part of a national group of non-for-profits that help manufacturing across the country. So in Illinois, the acronym is IMEC. Every state has a nonprofit like us, and we're focused specifically on manufacturing success in our states. And so what our mission really is to be kind of the first call or the first person of contact when a company has an issue that they're dealing with. You know, it's easy now to go right to Google and maybe try to find some answers or to find some resources, but even then you have to dig through a lot of information. And then if you find a company, you know, then you have to vet them and, you know, check around to make sure that their expertise is legitimate. I think back to, you know, even before the Google days, you know, we all kind of had you know, a favorite uncle or maybe a neighbor that we could call to answer a trivia question that we're stumped on, or if we're maybe working on our car in our garage and find a point that we can't get past, and you know, we always had that person to reach out to help us through a difficult situation. And so that's what IMEC wants to be for manufacturers in Illinois. We want to be that first call because over 25 years, we've developed a very strong network of internal and external resources to assist companies. IMEC internally, we have a very large staff of professional technicians with a wide range of areas of expertise, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then we also have developed a very strong network of subcontractors that we work with too, that we have already vetted. To be very successful with your companies. And then delving into that history and that experience, and then also just all of the best practices that we're able to see throughout the state as we're assisting different companies. We're able to share a lot of that information with each other. So we want the conversation to start with IMEC. Next slide, please. We have a very strong presence throughout the entire state of Illinois. Angela, if you could just kind of maybe click that to populate yeah, there we go. So oftentimes in the lovely state of Illinois, north of I-80 always seems to get the attention for a variety of things. And with IMEC, we're really trying to grow the southern and central part of the state as far as having impact growth. And so we have personnel in these areas in southern Illinois to really start growing our presence in manufacturing in the southern part of the state. And as I said, we're part of the MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, which is the nationwide organization that keeps an eye on all the different state non-for-profits like ourselves. Next slide, please. So when IMEC works with a company, we can do it a variety of ways, everything from just maybe a short virtual meeting or numerous virtual meetings, but we also many times, probably most of the time, actually what I call boots on the ground, where our people from IMEC or our subcontractors physically are on site at a company, helping them through a situation that they're experiencing. And one of the favorite things that I like about the projects that we complete is that they're measurable. Oftentimes, especially when companies make investments, sometimes the return on investment can be hard to notice or measure, and maybe immediately or over a long period of time. And the MEP does a really good job of this, because at the end of a project that we do for a company, the third party MEP will send a survey to that company, and they have to record the impacts of that project that we assisted with a company. And this is a very good reflection of the impacts that IMEC has had with manufacturing companies throughout the state of Illinois last year. And so at the completion of each project, you can see that the average per company new and retained sales is nearing $1.8 million. Jobs created and retained are over 5,000 per project. And then skipping down to the bottom, average cost savings per project is around $340,000. And so those are some of the impacts that these companies are seeing per project that we're assisting with. And that's over a wide variety of areas, which we'll go over a little bit later, of different projects that we're able to help with. Last year, we touched and assisted 2,500 companies throughout the state of Illinois, and we're really, our goal is to push that over 3,000 this year. And then the total impact to the Illinois economy was over $660 million. And then the final ratio there in the bottom middle, the 19-to-1 return on investment. So when we take all of the impacts that are measured per project that we complete, dollar for dollar, companies are seeing $19 return to every one invested with IMEC. And that's, who wouldn't want that kind of return on investment? Next slide, please. One of my favorite things about working with IMEC is, I get to travel around central and southern Illinois and visit with so many different types of manufacturers, whether it's a one-person welding shop to a company that has several thousand employees. We want to help all manufacturing. And we're not a consultant by any means. We want to meet manufacturers where they are and work together as a partner to come up with solutions that are specific to that company. Not all companies have the same cultures, the same environments, the same processes, and so we don't want to bring a cookie cutter solution to every company. We want to, learn about your organization, learn about what a specific struggle might be, and then come up together with a way to resolve it. So we want to be considered, like a partner, or even like one of your trusted suppliers or vendors. And sometimes I like to say, think of us like an employee in your facility that doesn't have an office. And sometimes that's a role that we have filled. If an organization, we've had examples where an organization might have a gap in their personnel, and they're having a hard time, finding, for example, a safety coordinator. And IMEC can help fill that role, until they have somebody hired and on the team. And then even to dive any further into that, we can help train any new person as well. So we want to be a common name, a recognizable company to call whenever issues arise. And we cover a lot of different things, from trainings to audits and assessments. And we host events that multiple companies can all attend at the same time. And a whole variety of things. I'll get a little more into detail coming up here shortly. Next slide, please. These are some of the topics that I'll get into right now that'll kind of show some of the themes that we cover. Everything from how leadership type trainings and assessments to sales growth, using data for making decisions, and workforce is obviously really huge, focusing on your people. So we'll get right into the nitty gritty on this now. Next slide, please. Okay, so one kind of theme that we focus on is different ways of leading and managing your company. And we have a whole list of examples of projects that we work on here. A couple of the ones that I'll highlight include succession planning. And so this can include a couple things. We can help an organization with succession planning, whether, let's say it's a family business and mom and dad are ready to retire and they're wanting to come up with a plan to turn the company over or sell the company to their children. And that's an area that IMEC can help with. Or if a company is going to sell to another organization, that could be part of a succession plan or an exit strategy. Succession planning can also be internal as well. Companies have key employees that are, eventually going to retire and always need to have that on their radar. And so we can help, IMEC can help a company develop a plan so that these retirements don't come, as a surprise, and that somebody's trained and coming up through the pipeline to smoothly, fill that role when the time comes. Another very, very popular project right now is supervisor training. This is a workforce right now is, manufacturing companies are struggling to hire people, finding people, with the skill set needed to come to help your facility. And we have found, and companies have found, that supervisor training is a great tool for recruiting and specifically retention. And we're all guilty. I was guilty in our machine shop of promoting from within to a supervisor position simply because somebody has been with the company the longest, and not necessarily because they have great leadership skills. And so IMEC wants to come in and train your supervisors to be better at their position, to be excellent leaders, and to really cultivate a good environment for their team of operators or whoever might be under them. And this has really drastically improved retention rates in companies that we have done supervisor trainings for, because maybe new hires or people that have that are entry-level positions, they're maybe felt a little more heard from their supervisors and have a little more impact relationships with them, and they stick around longer and start to becoming more ingrained in the culture that your company wants. So supervisor training has been very, very important lately. And then we also work with creating healthy workplaces, and that includes a lot of areas depending on where your company is on that topic. We can help with DEI journey maps and team coaching and even physical health with companies as well, with your personnel. So there's a lot of different tools and resources that we have available to help your company with the leading and strategic type things. Next slide, please. Planning. All companies need to have a plan, and oftentimes the plan gets put on the back burner, let's say, because you have fires to put out, or maybe sales are really strong, and you get too bogged down working in your business rather than on your business. And so that's a gap that IMEC has helped many companies fill and assist with. Um, some areas for planning that we're able to help with would be, the strategic planning, big picture, short and long-term goals, and really coming up with a map of what success looks like for your organization. We provide gimbal walks is something that we do often. We're an outside set of eyes is often very helpful for a wide variety of reasons. Um, and again, something that I was guilty of, when you walk through your organization, just like you walk through your factory floor every single day. And if you see a box sitting in the corner that's been there for weeks and weeks and never gets any attention, then you kind of start to forget that it's even there and why it's there or what's even in that box. And whenever somebody from the outside comes in and starts with an outside perspective, they notice these things because IMEC, we haven't been around your organization to say things like, well, that's the way we've always done it here. We're going to come in with a whole open mind and ask questions like, well, maybe there is a better way that is different and more efficient than the way it's always been done here. And then another thing we can do is like market analysis to see, maybe you want to bring a new product to the market, and we can help you do an analysis to see what kind of sales potential is out there, whether it be statewide or regional or nationwide. Or maybe you're wanting to acquire another company. We can help do a market analysis for that type of thing too, to see if there'd be a good match. So a whole wide area of topics that we cover for helping your company plan for success. Next slide, please. Growing your business. There's, again, a lot of areas that we help companies with their growth strategies. Everything from we've helped, usually smaller companies if they wanted either start an online presence or enhance their website. Maybe they've had their neighbor build their website for them, or their cousin or something, and they're wanting to get something a little more professional and more geared towards the manufacturing world. That's something that IMEC can help with. If a company's wanting to add e-commerce to their website and start selling online, we have helped many companies fire up their e-commerce. And then also like getting noticed online as well, getting your name optimized so that it comes up in Google searches at the top. We assist with that too. And again, growing your business kind of goes along with the previous slide with the planning, with marketing and strategy, and building a business plan around your market analysis, and really being able to have a structured goals and a structured plan on how to get there. And then not just reacting to things as they come your way. Too often, companies, including my own, we get distracted with what's coming at us, and we don't often pivot to where we can really control with a plan what's coming at us. Next slide. Improving your operations. So one of the things I like to say is, IMEC can help manufacturing companies from the reception desk to the shipping dock. And so one of the things that we do is, right out on your process floor where a product is getting manufactured, put together, assembled, machined, or whatever it may be, we can help build strategies that improve those situations. Everything from, for example, supply chain and inventory management. Supply chain is, a huge buzzword right now. It's smoothed out maybe a little bit for some companies since the whole COVID debacle, but it still can be a pain finding the materials that you need to build your product. And we can help. IMEC can help identify new suppliers and vet them, and get them into your channels, and hopefully improve deliveries, and even save some money along the way. Lean transformations. This is another big one that we help many companies with. I'm seeing them all the time pop up on our project list. Maybe a company built a lean process 10 or 12 years ago, and IMEC can come in and help kind of give it a booster shot, clean up, reorganize, and launch it again. Or we help companies that really haven't built a specific lean process in their manufacturing, and they're wanting to start. And we help companies do that as well. And the lean really helps grow with efficiencies and throughput in manufacturing across the state. Next slide, please. Focusing on people. I don't know, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but workforce is a huge issue right now for manufacturing companies. I've seen it calm down a little bit over the last, let's say, 6 to 8 months, but I'm not sure if it's companies are just becoming accustomed to not having enough people, so they're just not talking about it as much anymore, and figuring out ways to do more with less, kind of thing, or possibly there is an uptick in hiring. I haven't quite noticed or figured that one out yet, but your workforce is obviously very important, and IMEC spends a lot of time helping companies develop their workforce, whether it's recruiting and retention, to cost of turnover calculations, which is a really big one. That if you don't have a general idea of what your cost to turn over an employee is, that's something that IMEC can help you with, and that really can help with decision making within your organization. And we have a lot of different training programs. I touched on leadership training already, supervisor trainings, employee trainings, which can be both soft and hard skills, including apprenticeships. We've developed apprenticeships for all kinds of organizations and companies, and over a wide variety of manufacturing themes. And the apprenticeships can be state registered and fully tracked by the state, or they can be more of an in-house apprenticeship, and just depending on what your organization wants to do. And we do that on site and online, and build those programs out to help train and give your people the skills that they need. Next slide. And finally, we have deciding with data. Data is really becoming a very popular measuring tool, I would say, especially with the new buzzword of AI being out there, being able to analyze data in different ways than we have in the past. And so deciding with data can include cybersecurity. There's companies are getting viruses and getting hacked, and this is a really big tool right now that IMEC is helping organizations with, to build their cybersecurity so that they can protect themselves. Oftentimes manufacturers need to have certain levels in place because of their customer demands, specifically if you're a subcontractor to let's say, the Department of Defense. So your cybersecurity levels need to be at a certain stage in order to get those contracts. And we assist manufacturers with getting up to speed so that they can stay within the requirements of the Department of Defense for their cybersecurity. ERP systems is another data collection. We help a lot of companies with their ERP systems. Everyone seems to have a love-hate relationship with their ERP. None of them I don't think I've met one manufacturing company that says that theirs is 100% loved by everybody. And we're able to help manage those. Whether a company's wanting to replace their ERP system, we can help do the due diligence on other companies to really try to narrow in on one that fits the best. Or if you're just wanting to start, maybe you don't have an ERP system. A lot of small mom and pop type machine shops might not have one yet, and this is a data recording software that we can help implement. Or if you have a really good and you're happy with the ERP, but there's just one little thing you wish was better, we have a couple of different subcontractors that help plug those gaps with maybe a different app that they can build that syncs with your ERP to really make that module work better for you. And then lastly, I want to point out is automation assessments. So with the workforce struggles and finding people to come to your manufacturing company, IMEC can come to your facility and do an automation assessment and look for areas where automating a process, might be a solution to not being able to hire someone or enough people to fill, a certain process or role on your manufacturing floor. We've seen a lot of success in that, and with the cost of automation seems to be coming down, at least since I was running a machine shop, it's a lot more necessity and a lot easier to get for your organization. Next slide, please. Okay, so I covered a whole lot of different areas that IMEC assists companies with, and that's just scratching the surface. Like I said, mostly we want to talk to companies, find out what's keeping them up at night, find out what what areas they want to improve in, or what areas that they have an issue with, and then help together work out a plan. Again, we're not consultants. We're not going to come in and sell you our way of doing things. We want to help you as a partner develop a plan that's best for your company. This slide just shows some of the programs that are out there. Oftentimes, there's grant money available for the projects that we do for companies. For example, we had a cyber safe initiative earlier this year that would cover any improvements to your cybersecurity in-house that you were doing. Maybe you had to buy a new server to support your cybersecurity software. So there was grant money available for that. And then I also want to mention our supply chain center on here. So this is something you can go right to our website now and see. So imec.org, imec.org. And right on the front page, you'll see down a little bit down in the middle, our supply chain center. You can click on that and become a member. And so this connects you to companies throughout Illinois and even throughout the entire MEP. So it's an exchange of jobs, basically, is what it is like. So when you're a member, you'll see it on there that another company in let's say up in Springfield, they post a job that they need help with, and your manufacturing company might have those capabilities, and so then you can contact them and bid on that job. And IMEC stays really out of it. We're just trying to connect people. And then on the flip side, if you're looking for a new subcontractor and for maybe better pricing or better delivery times, you can post jobs on the supply chain center as well, and get access to other companies throughout the state and throughout the country. It's a new thing that we've started, and it's really starting to take off. So I definitely wanted to shout that out as well. So that kind of is my very, very quick and a lot of information area on the history of IMEC, what we do. And you have my contact information here. I'm basically the development person. My title is a regional manager, so I'm kind of the first person in the door. We have many people like me throughout the state, so depending on your region, we can come in and have a conversation, and then we have access to our in-house experts based on the situation at hand. So if we're talking about, let's say, a supervisor training, you definitely don't want me training your supervisors, but we have some outstanding trainers on staff that I'll bring one in and have a conversation, and we'll build a training specific for your supervisors. And that's how we do it with all those areas that I covered. And to further explain some of the projects that we do here, we're lucky to have Miranda Geralds from Peerless of America on. And so IMEC has helped Peerless of America here in Effingham on a couple different solutions over the last couple years. And so we invited her on to maybe give a little firsthand experience that they have of working with IMEC. So hopefully the Miranda hasn't ditched us yet, and I'll turn it over to her.
Good morning, everybody. I first want to apologize.
Could I interrupt you for just
Of course, Angela.
Sorry about that. I did just want to mention to all the attendees, if you have questions either for Noah or Miranda, put those in the chat and we'll go over those at the end of Miranda's discussion.
Thank you. I do want to apologize for not having a face to go with the voice this morning. My camera does not want to work. But I just wanted, first I'll introduce myself. I've been with Peerless of America for just over a year now. I started out downstairs just as the front lobby person, and I'm now the ISO coordinator here. So that's been exciting for me. I have been included in one IMEC training since I have been a part of Peerless, and that was the the lean process. That was a very interesting experience. It really focused a lot on team building. I felt a lot closer to the people that I worked with after going through this training with them. It helped us open our eyes to some processes here in our facility that can be helped as far as making sure that everything is done lean, everything is in the right order. We learned about Kanban during it. But again, it was just a huge team building experience. We have went through a lot of changes in our facility over the last few years with new people coming in, some people leaving. So it's just something that has been wonderful for us as we get to know each other. I spoke to some other people that have been here a little bit longer than me, and they have also done some of the leadership training with IMEC. Again, I had nothing but good feedback from everybody that I spoke to about it. I actually think we are interested in maybe signing up and doing that again, just because of all of the changes that we've experienced. I know personally, I really love all of the webinars that are available through IMEC. You get a lot of different education that way. I have went through the DEI program through IMEC. And because we are starting to see some of our customers have a little bit higher demands and expectations of us, even as a smaller facility, that having these webinars and this DEI training and all of these things available to us is a huge, huge benefit, especially coming from the smaller, more southern area in Illinois. It really does. IMEC just offers a huge plethora of information that we would struggle to have access to. Our president, Jordan, she speaks to Noah quite often. She's wanted me to state that he is always just a phone call away, and she can reach out to him at any time for anything that comes up. really are a fantastic resource that just, like Noah said, just offers that outside perspective just to come in. And it's a little hard. You get stuck in a tunnel vision type situation whenever you're in the same facility day after day, and having somebody from an outside source that is there to watch you succeed, offer their advice and their ideas is a huge benefit. So we just want to say thank you to IMEC for everything that you have done for us. And we are very excited to continue working with you guys. I know we also you've helped us with grants. We received a grant this year. So it was a huge assistance in that as far as applying and getting all of the information together, because it does get a little daunting. So having IMEC there to kind of walk us through was very helpful. I know we've also had last year, right before our recertification for our ISO audit, we had somebody from IMEC come in and kind of give us like a pre-audit, and that was extremely helpful. We gave us an opportunity to see where our weak points were before we had our BSI audit for certification come through. We've also had first aid training done in-house through IMEC. That just helps train our employees just for emergencies and any kind of emergency that might occur as far as health that can happen in manufacturing facilities. Again, I would just say the team building has by far been my personal favorite of it. But it is pretty amazing to get to work with different people within your same facility and see how it all fits together. And that is all I really have to say. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Miranda. I'm glad you mentioned, I kind of forgot about the team building, or Lean 101. That's what that one was. And that's a really popular program that we do for companies. It not only introduces the team to lean terminology and lean processes, but like you said, it's a team building event too, because everyone's together. Maybe it's in a conference room or in the cafeteria or whatever, and everyone gets put in a different role, and then you change roles. So maybe somebody who their real life role is as a machine operator. Well, during the Lean 101, they have to be a quality inspector, or maybe and then they have to switch to the salesperson, and so they're able to kind of experience some of the troubles and challenges that other roles experience as well. And so everyone kind of walks away with a different perspective of their own peers' jobs that they have to do. And so yeah, that's a really fun day. And everyone learns a lot, not only about lean, but about each other too, I think. And then the two other, or a couple of the other ones you brought up too. So the ISO audit that you went through, and we did a kind of a pre-check on that. And then also the same with the safety. Those are free offerings that we do for anybody. If you have an audit coming up for, whether it be OSHA or ISO or anything, like that, we'll come on and do a quick analysis and assessment, write a little report of areas that you might want to check out before, the real thing happens. So, yep. Thanks for your input, Miranda. Really appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you, Miranda. We all do. It's nice to hear firsthand how it actually works out in the real world with a company that's operating, trying to use the resources. And of the Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Centers, I'm sorry, Noah, earlier in the presentation, I called it an Illinois Manufacturing Extension Center. I think that I might have given away my age when I did that. But they are Illinois Manufacturing Excellence Centers, and we're certainly glad that Peerless has been able to access those resources. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So again, if anyone has questions, put them in the chat. I'll go ahead and ask some of the questions that are already in the chat. Noah, someone's asking, does IMEC work with high school students or programs as part of your apprenticeship program?
Well, not directly. So we work directly with the manufacturing companies, but that is, a topic that we cover is you need to reach out to your high schools and develop a relationship to encourage that growth from the high school. So we're not the ones working with the high school, but we really recommend that the manufacturing does that as part of their apprenticeship building.
Sure, and some of those opportunities present themselves on events like Manufacturing Day that I think most of the communities
Yeah.
represented here have.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
are
and I guess let me give a quick example on that too. So when we work with a company on their apprenticeship, it's generally it's built in-house, within the company's walls. And so it's a combination of online learning and hands-on learning. And so, for example, if there is a local high school kid, he would go to that company, spend some time, online, doing coursework. Let's say it's in blueprint reading, and then however many days or hours it takes to get through that course load. Once that's done, then and he's graduated from the online portion, then our trainer will come in and translate what was learned online to the specific task within that company, and then show them, how to do that within that company or with their process or with their products. So, in a nutshell, that's how that looks.
Okay. Something else I might suggest as a resource for manufacturers, just kind of a shameless plug here for Lyft in Mattoon. If your school district is one of the 28 member districts that are working with Lyft, there might be a program there, and they are sending students out on site in internships and real work experience. So that might be an opportunity too to start to develop that pipeline of talent for your business. Next question, where are the locations in southeastern Illinois, and what is the best way to contact our local location?
Well, our locations are not hard locations. We don't have brick and mortar in southern Illinois, but we do work around the state. I'm located in Effingham, and I cover southern and central Illinois. And then Cassie Eigert, she would cover further south. So generally, her and I work together a lot on projects, and so but then my territory goes all the way up to Kankakee, including Champaign and Danville and Decatur and all the way over to Indiana. And so for southeastern Illinois, it would be a combination of Cassie and I. And best way to find us is through our website, imec.org. But it'd be one of the two of us that would handle southeastern Illinois, Cassie Eigert or myself. Kind of
Okay.
depending on the exact line of where you're located, but we don't fight over companies. It's mainly whoever's available first that can help first.
So another question that came in, which you may have answered, does IMEC offer in-person workshops and webinars? Sounds like you already do offer webinars. Peerless
Yeah.
has taken advantage of them. Do you offer in-person workshops, maybe not at a brick and mortar that IMEC has, but a separate brick and mortar?
Yeah, so we've done workshops oftentimes at like community colleges. I know Olney Central College, we've had a couple projects, where it's kind of an all-day, workshop that covers several different topics, and we bring in, guest speakers that are experts in those fields. And we've done them at Parkland, in Champaign, and I can't think of some of the others off the top of my head, but typically that's where those community colleges have the resources and the large enough rooms to host things like that. And then our online webinars are all free as well. And Those are all accessible. Oftentimes you can watch recordings of them too. But those are on our website. And if you're wanting to get, if you're wanting to join like our email list, that's on our website as well. Or you can put your email in the chat room here, and then I can get you added. And the email list will give you, weekly upcoming webinars, and then also call attention to any grants that are, grant initiatives that are, either about to be launched or getting launched.
So good, you may have just partially answered the next question about how would someone get on your mailing list to learn about the programs you're
Yep.
offering. So they could put their email in the chat here.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best way to do it, because then I can just manually do it myself. As long as Angela, you're able to retain this chat for me.
We are. Mhm. Yep. Can you provide some examples of supply chain assistance?
Well, other than we have the online supply chain management tool for getting access to other resources for that. But then also, really, I don't have any specific examples because I don't, like I said, we want to know what your struggles are. So, I would bring in our supply chain expert to your facility and to do a gap analysis. Where are you at now today? Where do you want to be? And then let's develop a plan to accomplish that. And then, that would include, and then we would have a report for that and then help you do that. And that would include, obviously access to companies that we are already aware of. That could be, that's what I've seen the most happen from supply chain management projects is, we'll go in and to do a gap analysis, and we'll instantly in our head say, well, we know a company, in Rockford that can do that for you. And, have you ever heard of them before? Well, no. And then we make the relationship, we connect the dots, and, oftentimes it's a simple solution like that. But then also another example is negotiation. We do purchasing training for supply chains. Where we train purchasers to be better negotiators, to really get prices driven down, or strategies for buying and buying in bulk, but then also getting the deliveries maybe staggered out so that you don't have to inventory all that bulk, or whatever other ideas that our expert might have to solve those problems.
I think you've answered this one a little bit, but maybe expand on it. So if IMEC works with a company on improving a process, do you then assist with the implementation of that new process?
Yes. Yep. Again, this is a partnership, and we work together. And so if a company wants us to help with the implementation, we can definitely do that. Some companies want to stop with the report out and basically the guide, and then they might have the resources internally to execute implement whatever the solution might be. But some companies don't have the resources internally to do that, and so we'll stick around until the job is done. And like I said, boots on the ground. We've done that many times.
Okay, another question in the chat, and I just answered it with respect to the Business Navigator webinars and where they're posted, but I think the question might be directed for the IMEC. How do people get access to the recorded webinars?
Okay, so on our website, I don't know if I can get there without screwing up my Zoom here. But on our website, up at the top, there's a menu called Events, and that's where you'll want to go. So any any live event where we're on site somewhere, the schedule is in there. And then also the upcoming webinars and recorded webinars will be in there as well. So imec.org, and then up at the top, you'll see the events tab.
What's the cost to using some of IMEC services? I know you said some of them are free,
Mhm.
but the ones that have costs associated with them, what's that cost structure like?
They're all over the map, obviously. So like for example, the Lean 101 team building exercise. That's an all-day training. And that's dependent on location, because we do have a little bit of travel involved, but that's generally around $6,500 off the top of my head. That's pretty standard per company, because it has roughly the same amount of people involved in it. So that training needs a minimum of 14 people with a maximum of, I think, 21 or 22. It doesn't matter how many people are in it, the cost is the same, but it's around $6,500. But then we do like an ERP system, which is software for all of your data within your company. Oftentimes it covers your employee timing in and timing out of jobs. It might include payroll, purchasing, inventory, all those things. I've seen some of those projects approach 6 figures to replace those systems. And so they're all over the map. What we generally see is that since we are a non-for-profit, and we charge for our services for much of them, but then we also are subsidized ourselves from the MEP in the state of Illinois. So we're able to charge much less on a per hour or per project basis than a typical consultant or private supplier.
So if
And then not to mention, we have oftentimes we have more direct access to grants, or at least more knowledge of where to find them, and which we can align with oftentimes a lot of the projects, specifically workforce related. That's where usually the grant money buckets are most full. And we have a team in-house that's in a sense their jobs is to find grant money.
So if a company's already working with another consultant, for instance, or I know you mentioned that some of your in-person workshops you hold at community colleges, and often companies find services for manufacturing needs at community colleges as well. Is the IMEC willing to work with those entities? And
oh yeah.
So what is the dynamic of that relationship?
Oh yeah, I don't, and IMEC doesn't. We don't really see ourselves as wanting to be in competition with anybody. We're here to help, and part of that is helping community colleges, and to have stronger relationships with manufacturers. So it's we try to keep it as smooth and friendly as possible. And if there's something that makes more sense for a manufacturing company than working with IMEC, we'll steer them that direction. That's what we're here for, is to benefit the company and to benefit manufacturing in Illinois. Not necessarily the growth and record profits or not profits for IMEC.
So this is a great menu of resources that you offer, and there aren't any more questions in the chat. I would just ask, so if someone just wants to get started with IMEC, and maybe they aren't even sure what they need yet, what do they do to get started? Do they go to imec.org?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great place to get a lot of information, but oftentimes we're guilty of a lot of websites of having a lot of information. And so really kind of, what I always encourage a new company that is coming in with IMEC is to, especially if it's in, our area here in Southern and Central Illinois, is to get a hold of, get a hold of myself. If you're watching this video live, or if you're watching a recording, shoot me an email or give me a call, and then I'll put you in touch with the right person. If it's not me. And then if it is me, a great next step is to, meet in person. It's one of my favorite parts of the job is going to a facility, and seeing cool things being made by great people. And I get to see things that I didn't know were made in Illinois all the time, and sometimes it's in my own backyard, and it's really fascinating to me. And so I like to tour facilities and meet the people that are doing the job. And whether it's and I've been fortunate enough in my career to work in all departments of manufacturing. Whether I was, like I said, sweeping the floors, or and maybe greasing a machine, to building our in-house QuickBooks, and teaching myself basic accounting. So I like meeting with presidents and CEOs, but I also like meeting with the head of maintenance. It's all fascinating to me. So that would be a great first step, is to get a hold of me, and we'll set up a time where I can come see your facility and have a conversation.
Okay, and I just put your email address in the chat for anyone that wants to jot that down, that maybe didn't jot it down when your slide was up.
Perfect.
Okay. So that's all the questions we've received. I just direct everyone back to the screen, www.ilbusinessnavigators.com. That's where you can access the recorded version of today's webinar. You can access all of our previous webinars, and you can look for information on our next webinar. Like I said earlier, they are usually held the last Thursday of the month. We'll begin sending out marketing materials probably second week of the month, and we hope that you'll join us for future webinars. For this one, Noah, thanks so much for joining us and sharing all these terrific resources. Miranda, thanks for joining us and giving us a case study, so to speak, of how you've been able to access IMEC. And for everyone else, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Angela.